Work, everybody. All right, we got Frank in here. Where's Frank
Yeah,
at?
there he
There,
is.
there he is. What's up, brother?
How we doing?
Dude, I'm doing phenomenal. We moved into the Tampa office last week, and so actually a quick announcement before we announce our guest here. So we are doing our lock-in the second week of August. Let me pull up my calendar here to make sure I'm not telling you all the wrong dates. So our first Tampa office lock-in is August 11th through the 15th. So mark your calendars, fly in that Sunday, which will be the 10th. So you guys can get a spot, get settled. And then we start first thing in the morning on the 11th. And then we go until that Friday, the 15th. And then we're doing our grand opening event that night of the 15th, that Friday night. And so we got our leadership retreat in Idaho the week prior, Tampa this week. So August is going to be an eventful month. I'm stoked for that and stoked to have all you guys down here. But without further ado, we got an absolute legend on this call. I'm excited for this one because a lot of you may or may not know who Frank is, but you guys are going to know soon. Frank, you've been in the industry for what, 8.5 years?
11 years.
11 years. I take that back. So over a decade in the insurance industry. What were you doing? What was your biggest personal production year?
Personal production year, 350. I was always like a 250 to 350 guy.
Cool. Okay. And then what was your biggest year as a team, as an agency?
Biggest year, 100 million.
100 million. So you guys were doing 8.5, 10 million a month.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So Frank, tell us, just after being in the industry for so long, you've seen a lot of things change. Tell us about just, first of all, the longevity of in the business and how you've been able to stay consistent for as long as you have.
The grace of God. No, dude, I mean, honestly, it's like when I found my wife, dude, I didn't want anybody else to have her. So that was it. Right. And so like when I found this, it's like, there's nothing, where else am I going to go? What's better than this? And so I just knew, even on the worst day ever, like, where else am I going to go? And so I just locked into the fact that this is the best business in the world or the worst, and it's up to you. And so I just decided to make it the best.
Did you have the mindset coming in that you'd be doing this for the next 10 years, or this would be a career move for you?
Honestly, my mindset was such a mess when I came into this business, dude. I was laid off 3 days before my wedding. And when I got back, I knew God was calling me to get into financial services. I didn't know what. I didn't want to be a stockbroker. I didn't even know what the life insurance industry was. I interviewed for like 20 different places. I life insurance in a big box type of, Northwestern Mutual, Mass Mutual, like those type of 50% contracts, selling friends and family, no leads, waiting 3 months to get paid. So it was the worst type of insurance, but it was the best industry. And so my first mentor, I think this helped me a lot, is he said, Frank, you have to put in 10 years minimum for you to really see, what's possible. Now, in that model, that is the mindset you need. It really is 10 years. Here, thank God, it doesn't take 10 years. It takes 1 to 3 years. But I think it was good for me to have that understanding that if I just give this thing whatever I got, everything that I got for 10 years, for the next 30, 40, I'll live like nobody, and that's the biggest thing, guys, is like you have to work and live like nobody does so you can have the life that nobody does. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And Frank, it's so funny you say that because I always tell people, I wish everybody would have started with a captive company or frankly, just a different company before coming here to really realize how good we have it. Because when you said that, I was told the exact same thing at my first captive insurance company. Like, hey, they painted out the 10, 20-year blueprint of like, hey, 10 years from now, then you'll be making, 800, hopefully $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And you can do that in less than half the time.
Yeah.
A quarter of the time in the brokerage space.
And so but what it did is it painted the picture for me of like, this is it. Like I'm real, unless God puts something else in front of me, this is it, next 20, 30 years, because it's going to create the financial freedom and the life freedom that I want, the lifestyle freedom that I want. Right. And so I just went all in.
What was your biggest struggle when you were first starting in the business?
In the simplified issue or just in life insurance in general?
Life insurance in general.
I wasn't who I needed to be. Right. And like, so one of my favorite thought processes to share with a new agent is like your impact and your income will never surpass your personal development. Right. I believe this is the greatest personal development course you're ever going to go through. You don't have to pay some guy on Instagram, 20 grand to go through his personal training, personal development course. Just just determined to be successful in this business. And you just are going to have to become somebody different. Right. Um, I was a disaster, guys. Like nobody had to make more changes than me. Like, and I think God used me as a tool, as a vessel, because I have more empathy for new agents that were where I was, right? Like I wasn't some guy that had 10, 20, 30 years of business experience that decided to come into insurance, right? Like I was a train wreck. I had to start from scratch. And so that always stuck with me, is like, for things to change, you're going to have to change, right? Like for things to change for you and those around you, especially if you're in leadership, you're going to have to change. Um, and then I would say the next biggest thing was I just got married. 3 months into the business, my wife was pregnant, found out she was pregnant. We had our first, and then 4 months later, she found out she was pregnant again. So like I had a lot of whys. I think that's an issue too with a lot of younger people, is they just don't have enough whys. So when I'm sitting down with a new agent, like, let me ask you this. Who do you have here? AJ, are you able to unmute?
Yes.
All right. So not, you're making me feel bad, dude, with your wife.
Oh, oh.
So listen, bro. Let me, if you don't mind sharing with the group, like what's a goal that you're going after this year?
So this is the beginning of week 2 for me. Last week was my
Oh,
first
nice.
full week. So
Congrats.
I had my thank you. I had my first 3 policies last week, and then I actually just got one this morning. So for me, it's
Congrats.
like,
You're
thank you. I
fired
want to
up.
hit it as hard as I can, because I was in a different agency prior to this where I had joined the insurance business and I really wasn't sure about it, and I was very limited. Here, there is so many different routes I can go just because we have all these different carriers, different lead sources. And so it's really what you put into it. Like,
So give me
I
one
work 2
goal
other
right now that
jobs.
you're shooting for 2025. Like what's something that like excites you?
I want to make at least 200K, at
Okay.
least.
Okay. And then now let me ask you also, who's the most important person in your life?
My wife,
Your wife. What's your wife's name, if you mind me asking?
Yarzet.
Yarzet?
Yep.
Okay. Now, would you take a bullet in the head for that 200 grand?
No,
Okay. Would you take a bullet in the head for Yarzet?
of course.
Okay. So do you see the difference of having a goal and a why?
Exactly. Because the why is something that you need to have no matter what. There's nothing stopping you.
Because,
But
dude,
with
because
the
here's the
money,
difference.
will come and go.
Here's the difference, right? When time gets tough, like you thought you were going after 200 grand, but it's like, maybe I'll just hit 150, right? Maybe I'll just do 125 because it's just a goal. It's a carrot. It's a target. But if your whys are aligned with your targets, then they're non-negotiables. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
So just make sure you're stacking your reasons, because goals don't really keep you going the way you think they're going to make you keep you going. Right. So
Yeah, that
just
makes
something to
sense.
keep in mind as a new agent or somebody that's not where they want to be. If you're not where you want to be, you probably just don't have enough reasons yet. Like that wasn't a problem for me, and so I see that with people that if they're really not having the success that they told everybody they were going to, or they sat down with John and they're like, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and that's just not happening, that's probably why that's probably why it's not happening. That's great advice, Claudia. Um,
No kids.
Frank, what are some non-negotiable goals and inputs that everybody on this call should implement?
so I'm big on like,
Needs to.
dude, everything is about my day. I don't really look at the month, the year, 10 years, 20. Like it's okay to cast a vision, right? Make it plain. But I'm big on my day. Show me your day, I'll show you your future. So like my non-negotiables are in my day, right? And so like for a new agent, I'll give you a simple one. And I don't know what you guys like as a team, but like I tell our guys, but before you go to lunch, you should have 150,000 minimum, right? And then
Yep. Yep.
take your break, do what you got to do, and then do it again, another 150. And then one thing that I always tell people is like, I know the people that are great and whatever they do, sports, business, if their coach tells them do 300 a day, they're probably going to do four. They're probably going to do 400. Like they're just looking to go the extra mile. The people that are like, oh, he said 300, but I'll do 200. Nobody's looking. That's a character issue, right? That's a character issue. And so, but going back, guys, non-negotiables are, you look at the day, like what non-negotiables are going to be good. And it's going to be different for everybody, but what are going to, like for me, it's, I'm up 4 a.m. I'm in the word and I'm at the gym. Those are non-negotiables. I'm not doing anything before I do that. Right. And then, because here's the thing, like I have 3 kids and a wife. How can I pour out with an empty cup? I have to fill my cup up every day first, right? I got to put, we all know the plane analogy, right? Plane's going down. We have to put our mask on first. So like I have a lot of duties, a lot of responsibilities. If I'm not at 120%, how can I give people 120%? Right. And so having those non-negotiables is so important. So like I'm big on routines. Your routine should be non-negotiable. What time are you make? So here's a big one that I think a lot of people miss. Your non-negotiable, one of them should be, what time is your first dial made? Do you guys talk about that, Jonah? Like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
like at, if it's 8 or not, whatever time, if you're part-time, whatever that is, one of the non-negotiables should be like the first dial is made at 8 or 9, or if you're part-time, if it's at 2 p.m., whenever that is. But like as simple as that, guys, but sticking to that, keeping the promises that you make to yourself, you don't understand that like how powerful that is when you stack that day after day after day after day after day. What that does, it's things that you don't see it, right? It's internal. Like when I first met Jonah, good guy, like great guy, seems like a good individual. When I was having a good hair day and he showed up, I'm like, damn it, right? But I can't see Jonah's will. I don't know what his will to win is. I can't measure that, right? I can't measure his character. I can't measure his confidence level in himself. Those things happen over time, and it's not something that we see on the outside. So here's the thing. Just like we don't see it building up for the better, we also don't see it breaking us down for the worst. Does that make sense? And so stacking those daily wins. I'm not worried about what you did for the week, what you did for the month, what you did for the year. I want to know what you do every day, because it's compounding for you for the better or the worse. I wanted to talk about, Jonah, something that I talk about with the team all the time, the 3-legged stool. And this is for, AJ just talked about, he's a brand new agent. This is going to be for him. I mean, there's guys on here that are crushing it. And this may help you. It may be a reminder. It may not. But for the new agent, something that I talk with a lot of new agents about, because who here can relate to the fact that there's so many moving parts to this business when you're new, right? It's like, it's overwhelming. Is that fair to say? A little overwhelming? The easiest way to break it down is this 3-legged stool, right? The first one, which in my opinion is the most important, is leads. Because like without that, nothing else really matters. And so one thing I want you guys to take notes on, write this down: ordinary and necessary. Ordinary and necessary. What does that mean? For something to be a business expense, it must be ordinary and necessary. Would you agree that a lead is ordinary and necessary for your business? Can I get a show of hands? Can I get ordinary and necessary? Is that fair to say? Is it also ordinary and necessary to be successful in this business? Right? In our line of work, 1000%. There's nothing else that's more necessary. Like, it's not your smile, it's not your nice teeth, it's not your big muscles, it's your leads, your lead flow, right? And so you can write them off. It's a business expense. Why aren't we doing that? Right? Why aren't we looking at it like that? And so one of the things I share with a new agent when it comes to leads, guys, is who here would like to have a successful and comfortable week versus an unsuccessful and uncomfortable week? I'm going to give you guys a tip that if you take this advice, you'll never have a bad week. Okay. When you're getting ready to on Sunday, on Thursday, whenever that is that you purchase leads for the following week, if you have like alligator arms, like you're scared to click the purchase button, that means you're going to have a comfortable week. Right? So like I'd rather be uncomfortable for 10 seconds when I'm making my purchase to have a whole week of comfortability versus you're comfortable because you're only spending $400 or $500 on leads, but now you're going to have a whole week of uncomfortability. What would you rather have? An uncomfortable 10 seconds or an uncomfortable week? You have to look at this business because, guys, like the people that are on that leaderboard, top 25, they're not better than you, I promise. And I hope they don't think that, especially if they're leaders. I hope they're portraying the fact that they were once just like you, but they made a decision to go all in on themselves and on leads. Like I was talking, guys, I don't gamble. You know, there's people that are like, oh, the lotto is $1 billion. I'm going to play. I'm not mad at you if that's one of you. That's cool. But like, why didn't you play when it was 500 million? You wouldn't have taken the 500 million, right? But I don't even play scratch offs. I don't gamble. You'll never see me in the casino. The only thing I'll bet on is me. I'm that confident. I will bet on me every day. And for you to be successful in this business, you have to be that confident in your willingness to win. Because that's what this business is. You're the horse in the race. You're the horse in the race. And so going back to the three-legged stool, we have leads, right? And so, Jonah, if I tell you, hey, dude, I'm starting a new business. Here's the business model. You give me $1,000. At the end of the week, come back and I'm going to give you $5,000. Or you can pick the second option. You give me $2,000. Come back in at the end of the week, I give you 10. Would you do that?
I would tell you that sounds like a Ponzi scheme.
Right. But would you do that business if it wasn't?
Of course.
Okay. But that's our business.
Yep.
That's our business. But there's some people that are skipping weeks or they're only putting $200 in because you're going to, if you're brand new, you're going to 5X if you work hard. So like, do you want to 5X $200 or 2,000? And then some of you thinking like, Franco, I don't have 2,000. Neither did I, but their most resourceful agent wins. And so anybody, going back to the analogy, if there's a gun to your head, if you have enough whys, you're going to figure out a way to get $2,000. Because if you can turn 2 into 10, you're never going to have to borrow money again. You're never going to have to get a credit card again, as long as you stay consistent. So write that down. The most resourceful agent wins. Don't come to me with problems. Come to me with solutions. Or come to me with a problem and say, here's the problem. Can you help me work on a solution? Because I'm not seeing clearly right now. I need your help.
Frank, let me ask you this. What would you say to the guys on the call where they're like, let's say I come to you and I'm like, Frank, dude, I'm 21 years old. I don't have a wife. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I want to be successful, but I'm struggling to figure out what that why is. What would you say?
I would say, why do you want to be successful?
Because I want to make a lot of money. I want to drive a nice car.
Is that it?
Well, and I also want to provide for my parents. They gave me a lot.
Okay. And what does that look like, providing for your parents?
Retiring my dad.
Okay. And what does that look like? Like, how much does he need to retire?
He's pretty, we could do it on $5,000 a month.
$5,000 a month? Okay. And if you don't retire him, what does that look like?
He's going to be working till he's 78.
at the least, or like, does he have money put away or no?
No, he doesn't have a lot of money put away.
Okay. All right. So it could be longer than that. Or if he gets sick or he's not the healthiest, then what?
Yep. It could be longer.
That sounds like a good why to me.
Yeah.
Because guys, the
Make
Lamborghini, the
make it about
Lamborghini
other people.
guys, you're gonna get it, and a month or two in, it's like, okay, it's another car. Right? Like you're gonna have the same problems, you're gonna have the same, like you go wherever you go, right? Like if you're in the GMC or you're in the Lamborghini, it's the same, you're the same person. Right? Like you have to start to get good with you and God. It's not about the car, right? Like that stuff comes and goes.
And I can tell you guys that personally, because to be honest, I was motivated by the car in the house for a long time. And it's cool. I enjoy driving my McLaren. I like it, but it's not what gets me out of bed every morning. It's just eventually it's going to end up in a junkyard.
Yep.
It's just materialism. My why is you guys. My why is coming into the office. I've had 3 new agents dialing 24/7 in my office all week, is them getting their first sale, them seeing that spark in their eye, seeing you guys reach that level of success and you guys provide for your family. Yeah. And also a lot of you on this call are young, you maybe not have a wife and not have kids. That doesn't mean you're never going to have a wife and kids. And the best time to lock in is right now. There's no going to be no better time, because this is the most energy you're ever going to have, and this is the most time you're ever going to have. So every year you wait, I promise you, it's just going to get harder. It's going to get harder. It's going to get harder. You're going to have a wife, and she's going to want you to spend time with her, and you have kids, and you guys spend time with your kids, and you're going to have a mortgage. You're going to have bills. And I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's going to be a lot harder to take that leap and really lock in. So for me and Claudia, we're sacrificing our 20s. From 20 to 30, we're sacrificing this entire time. So our 30s and 40s are set up and we can spend it the way we want to. And we can spend it with our family and not have to be a slave to finances and be financially free. And so, Frank, I want to segment
not to cut you off, Jonah, but you know what? Like, I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but God's word says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. And so that's not just business. That is business, right? But that is this opportunity, but that's your health, that's your relationships, that's your friendships, that's your business partners, that's the people you're leading, that's the people that, listen, if Jonah's coaching me, remember, he's taking the time from his busy day to put me in a position to win. So I also owe it to him just as much as I owe it to myself, the people around me. Whatever your hands find to do it with all your might, as if you're working for the Lord.
What verse is that?
There's a couple. There's one in Ecclesiastes. There's one in Ecclesiastes. It's like Ecclesiastes 8 or 9. I'll send it to you, but
yeah, Claudia, if you could drop that in the chat.
It's that's something I literally remind myself of every day, guys, because it, to me, that's like it's an obligation. Like I don't what what's funny is like fear of the Lord, people that's misinterpreted. Like fear of the Lord is not about to be afraid of him. It's to honor him. It's to love him. It's to serve him in a positive way. Like when you understand that, it's like when you have your father, I don't know about you guys, but like as a young man, when I did something, when I had a big win, my dad was the first person I called. It was funny, like and I'm not being proud of this, guys, but like my first fist fight, I called my dad. Right? Like so proud. But like when we're that relationship with God, I want to make him proud. I'm not like, oh, if I don't work, God's going to strike me down with lightning. No, I want to make him proud every day. Right? And so if you don't have family, kids, that's a big enough why. But I don't want to get too off topic because I want to get back into the three-legged stool, guys. So leads, right? You cannot run your business without leads. I've seen agents try everywhere under the sun to do it. Don't waste your time. Buy leads, serve families, watch, rinse, repeat. It's not complicated. You'll make it complicated if you try to make it complicated. Don't make it complicated. Next thing, schedule. right? Have a schedule. If you are not 1,000% certain that your daily and weekly schedule is not aligned with your targets, get with Jonah, get with your manager, and make sure, like, hey, if I do this every day, every week, will I hit what I'm looking to hit? If not, what needs to change? Right. And so I'll tell you this, guys, one thing about the schedule. If you say, I just got this new camera, keeps doing that thing. I'm Italian, so I move my hands too much and the AI keeps moving around. So if you like, I want people to understand how serious time blocking your dial time is. If you guys don't take your dial time, like my wife knew when I first started, if the house was burning down and she could put it out without me, don't call me during my dial times. That's how protected my dial times were, guys. You need to protect your dial time. In my first office, you know what was at the door? With all that, like, I'm recruiting like crazy, guys. You know what was at the door? I'm dialing right now. Why aren't you? That was the sign on my door. Because if I didn't have that, guess what? Every new agent is going to knock on my door because they don't want to dial. And so it's going to negatively affect them. And it's also going to negatively affect me. So it's a lose-lose if they're coming to talk to me during dial time. Now, when dial time was over, my door was open for everybody, right? Before 8 a.m., between 12 and 2, and after 8 p.m. I'm yours. You can call me at 3 in the morning. I'll probably be up. Let's go. Whatever you need. But like dial time has to be like sacred. All right. I just want to make sure that we get that super clear. And the last thing, write this down. The key to success, KEY, is to keep educating yourself. Keep educating yourself. The key to success is to keep educating yourself. How do you do that? I'm going to give you 2 ways. Number 1, be coachable. When Jonah tells you to do something, do it. He knows what he's talking about. Obviously, we know that. So be coachable. The most successful agents on my team are the most coachable. It's not a coincidence, guys. They're directly correlated. Okay. The next thing is be on every training. There's how many people on this training call right now? 42. Okay. How many writing agents are on the team?
250.
250. So congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to you guys. All right. You know the key to success. Keep educating yourself. So train, reach out to people that are doing what you want to do or have done what you want to do, and just keep getting better. So 3-legged stool. Who wants to help me out? What are the 3 legs?
Leads.
Leads, schedule, training, right? Lead, schedule, training. You can literally break this whole business down to 3 things. Don't overcomplicate it. If something's not working in your business, it always boils down to one of those 3 things. Okay. Now, one thing I want to get into real quick, guys. I don't follow sports. I always play sports. I don't follow them. I never follow them. But with that being said, if you don't follow them, you can still understand this analogy because I don't follow them, but I can understand this. We can make athlete money. Joan, is that fair to say?
Of course.
We can make athlete money in this business. How cool is that? I'm not 6'8". Okay. I'm not athletically inclined to be a professional athlete. Okay. But we have the ability to make athlete money. So I'm going to break this down with you guys. So I don't follow sports, but like I could name a good amount of the starting 5, the Chicago Bulls when Jordan was playing. Could most people do that? Like, do most people on this call know who Michael Jordan is? Scottie Pippen? We know who these people are. Okay, but could you name the other people that were on the team that didn't start with Michael Jordan? Could you name? I can't. What would you say the difference is? There's a big discrepancy in income, but what would you say? Why is there a discrepancy? Do we know why? I can guarantee you they're not watching film, right? What is watching film? Don't we do that? Training. The athletes do that. We do that. You think they were coachable? I'm sure they were coachable. The starting five, right? And I'm sure they outworked everybody. Right? We all hear the Kobe Bryants and Michael Jordans before everybody, out before everybody. We could do that too, guys. We can do that too. Now, here's the thing.
If I could add to that,
Yeah.
anybody that knows me, they know I am not a sports guy. I work too much to watch sports. But if you haven't, you have to, whatever you do, you have to watch The Last Dance by Michael Jordan. Phenomenal documentary.
Mhm.
And in that documentary, Michael Jordan's coach, Phil Jackson, talks about, and Michael Jordan, he didn't even get drafted in college. He wasn't even on the first pick. And there was guys that were taller than him, that were more talented than him, that had more potential than him, but he had that tenacity, and he had that hunger and that drive, and he had that dog in it.
Yeah.
And so it simply comes down, it's not necessarily how talented you are, it's how hungry are you? How badly do you want to win? I could tell you, me and Frank go way back. Frank knows me from our prior company. He knew, like, he saw some guys come in that were way better salespeople than me. And Frank, I know that, but I was hungrier than all those guys. And I wasn't at first, they were better than me, but I showed up earlier, I put in more inputs, and I outworked all of them, and then eventually I outperformed all of them.
That's why I said I can't tell you what you're gonna do. I can never pre-qualify an agent, right? Like a mentor of mine is worth he sold his company 3 times for $1.9 billion. You know what he says? He's like, I can't see the dog in somebody, right? Because there's going to be a fight to be successful in business long term, 30 plus years. I can't see the dog in somebody, but I can guarantee you there's going to be a fight, right? That will it's on the inside. We all have it, but are you going to find it? Are you going to use it? Nobody here is like, oh, God gave me a gift of like having a strong will and doing what I said I can do. That's all free will. God gave us free will. Are we aware of that? God gave us free will. We can decide if we're going all in or not. That's the scary part, right? But it's also an amazing thing. And so I want to sticking with this basketball analogy, and for somebody that is very good at this, your guys' coach and mentor, Jonah, how many objections, like of the main ones, how many are there 50 objections that you're going to get?
Nope.
Okay. How many shots, how many different shots do you think you need to get really good at to be a professional basketball player? Are there 50?
No, there's 10,000.
No. How many like 3-pointer?
Oh, how many shots do you need to, like, what percentage of shots you need to make?
No. How many different types of shots? Like let's go through it. 3-pointer, foul shot. What else? Slam dunk, layup.
10, 15.
Shot. There's like 5. There's like 5 or 6.
Not many.
Think about this. Same thing with our objections. There's like 5 or 6. So to become a pro basketball player, you just have to get good at 5 shots. To become a pro at what we do, you just have to get good at 5 objections. But here's the thing. It's like you can't kick the tree down if you kick it in 10,000 spots. But if you kick the tree every day over in the same spot, over and over and over and over, eventually the tree's going down. It's the same thing in this business. You have to get up and do the deal over and over and over and over. And there's only 5 objections that you have to get good at to be successful in this business. Only 5, not 30, not 1,000. And you just have to practice them over and over. So like when I sneeze, Jonah, what do you say?
Excuse you. Bless you.
Bless me. Bless you. But did you see, like, he didn't have to like check his notes. What do I say when he sneezes? Because it's like, it's now innate. It's in our subconscious.
Man, that's so good. Less is more, because I was just having a conversation with an agent this morning, and he's like, dude, like, I'm spending a couple hours a day watching trainings, and I'm watching all these trainings and da-da-da. And I was like, we're going into it, and dude, he's watching Hermosi, he's watching Jeremy
Oh,
Minor. I'm
oh.
like, dude, you're doing way too much. You need
No.
to focus and dial in. How many objections do we have? Only about 15. Like Frank was saying, it's not that deep. Like less is more. Get really, really good at the areas where you're weak. You know, I do one-on-one calls with a lot of agents weekly. I flipped it from me because I used to tell agents, I'm like, hey, dude, this is what you need to work on, and you do this and do this and da da da. It's if I'm doing that, and I'm just telling you, you need to be self-aware in this business.
Yep.
So you guys
I'm
need to
so
have the
glad that
ability
you
to
said that.
analyze yourself and figure out where am I weak? What do I need to improve on? And dude, just narrow in those little specific things. And here's the thing, it's not as deep as you think it is. You don't need to fix as much as you think you need to do. Most of the time, it's just a few small tweaks and adjustments, and you're there. But agents are trying to change way too many variables, and that's why they're struggling.
Of course, and be intentional. Well, remember we said training is one of the three-legged stools. Alex Hermosi is not sell like if your goal is to sell 200 grand a month, a year, like AJ. Why are we watching Alex Hermosi? He doesn't sell $200,000 a year of life insurance. Like going back to my mentor, you know what he always says? The biggest reason why he sees entrepreneurs fail is they skip steps. Right? Watch the YouTube video of the guy that's writing 200 grand. Don't watch my video of how to get to 8 million a month. Why? Why are we doing that? Don't watch Alex Hermosi. Don't skip steps. If you want to write 200 grand, only watch. And here's another tip, guys. Don't watch 15 people that if you're trying to learn how to sell final expense, don't watch 15 people, different people. Find one or two people that you relate to and watch their trainings over and over and over and over. Because if Claudia sells final expense and Jonah and Chris and AJ, and then I'm watching everybody does something different. And now I'm even more confused. Just watch one or two people that you relate to. Like, because there used to be a guy in my old company, he was really funny. Really funny. And when we were in home, he'd be like, I just got to come by and make sure you're not as big as an elephant and hooked up to a hospital bed. Well, first of all, he could say that because he had this thick, goofy Southern accent. I could never say that. I get shot. So like, I know who I am. I know who my audience is. I'm not saying that. I'm also like, agents would watch it and I'd be like, you're not funny. Why are you watching that? Like you need to watch somebody like you that you can relate to. You're just watching that to get entertained. You're not watching that to get better. You're not funny. Don't watch that. Right. And so one thing you just made me think of, dude, is one thing that I had to do, and I still do this to this day, but there's no way I'd be sitting in this seat right now if I didn't take this advice so seriously. So I hope you guys write this down. I hope you circle it. I hope you put an asterisk around it. You have to give up to level up. There are things right now, there are places you want to go right now, and you cannot get there because things are holding you back. Things are holding you down. It's an addiction. It's a bad habit. If you watch porn, I'm sorry, you don't realize how much it's hurting you. If you vape, if you smoke cigarettes, oh, what's a vape? If I have to ask what's a vape or what's this or how is this hurting me? Well, that's a red flag, right? I'm not like, well, how is eating healthy hurting me? Because it's not, right? Like if you're saying, how is smoking weed really hurting me? That's a red flag if you're asking it like that, right? Like they're like, oh, well, this guy, he's got $1 billion company and he smokes weed. He's got $1 billion company. Let him do what he wants. Do you have $1 billion company? You're skipping steps, right? You're going back to skipping steps. There are things that you're going to have to give up to level up. If you wake up at 8, 9 o'clock, you're going to have to give that up. What do you mean, Frank? Like the snooze button, you're going to have to give that up. You're going to have to give up going to bed after 10 o'clock. Can somebody give me something good that happens after 10 o'clock for you, for your life, for your future? Can anybody give me anything good?
Go to sleep.
That is better than you waking up at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning or 6. And guys, I'm not saying everybody has to work up at 4 in the morning, but like if you're waking up at 9, maybe start waking up at 7. Right? If you're waking up at 7, maybe start waking up at 6. Be more intentional about your day. So, but there's some things I'm telling you guys, there's everybody has on this call, everybody, including myself. And here's a killer, guys, social media. I don't have social media on my phone. I work with my phone. Who here works with their phone? So you have social media on your phone too? You're killing your odds of success in this business if you have social media on your phone. Because this is what happens. Like the reason why I don't have it, because I know I'm a human being. I'm not God. I'll make 5,000. Next thing you know, 45 minutes later, I'm on Instagram scrolling. And I'm like, oh crap. That was 45 minutes. I could have made 45 calls. I could have.
Dude, I talk about this a lot, but a lot of you guys have heard me say this. I delete Instagram every single freaking day. I post on there every day, but I'm a dealer, not a consumer. I don't spend any time on there. I just post on there, delete the app off my phone and get off. Because I consider myself, I'm a pretty disciplined person. And I'm pretty dialed, but I do not have enough discipline to not go on work because we are all so addicted. If you try to tell yourself that, you're lying. Like every single person on this call, you guys should all have the app downloaded, deleted off your phone, or at least some sort of app that locks it, that prevents you from going on it during the day. Because everybody pull up your screen time right now. If you looked, I guarantee you'd be disgusted with how much time you spend on social media.
There's a direct correlation to your success or lack of. Guaranteed.
Yep.
Right.
Well, Frank, we got 15 minutes left of this call. So I want to translate this into, because a lot of the guys on here, they want to build a business. They have the long-term vision. They want to build a large agency. So from someone that's built it, coming from there, what are some non-negotiables that everybody on this call needs to implement into their life, into their business in order to build a successful sales team?
Yeah. So the first one is be selfless. You have to be selfless, not selfish. That's number one. Because when I raise my hand and say, hey, I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to build a team, there comes a duty and obligation with that. So like when I'm getting ready to sit down with my wife and my 3 children that I haven't seen all week on a Friday, and we sit down, we go out to dinner and we sit down, and I get a call from a new agent that's on an appointment, I have to take the call. I have to take the call, right? It's a non-negotiable. And so what I've learned, especially in this business, is being of service. It's never convenient. And that's the same thing with sales. Ooh. Being of service is never convenient. Right? I know realtors that make 8 figures. Do you think they take Saturdays and Sundays off? No way. That's when it's convenient for the client. Right? We're in the service business. We're in the people business. Let's be very clear. We're not in the product business. Like for those of you guys that are nerding out on products right now, you're hurting yourself. I need to know every little thing about. No. Nerd out on people. Right? If you call 1,000 of my clients right now, they're not like, if you were to call them and be like, oh, hey, what product did you get? What life? And they're, oh yeah, it's the Mutual of Omaha with the they have no idea. They're like, Frank's my guy. Just ask him. He took care of it. Frank's my guy. Frank's my agent for life. He's got it. Just call him. He knows what it is. Right? Like, that cliche, that saying, like, they don't care how much you know, they care how much you care. Because it's true. Like, they care how much you care, not how much you know. So that's the first thing, guys, is you have to be selfless. Like, I can guarantee you, Jonah, when he walks by his car versus when a new agent makes a sale, I can guarantee you he's 1,000 times more fired up when that new agent makes a sale. I can guarantee you. I would put my life on the line for that guarantee. I know it. And so for you to be successful, you have to have that same why, right? And so that's a non-negotiable. You have to be selfless. You have to write at a high level, right? You have to write at a high level. When I was in the field writing 20, 30, 40, I'd have my 50K months. Like on the phone telesales, guys, that equates to like 40, 50, 60, right? And so if you're trying to build a team and you're not running 40, 50, 60, you're not really setting a good bar and standard for your team. right? Like there's the leaders on my team are writing 10, 15K a week easily, easily. So if you want to build a team and you're not doing that, you have to make a decision. Like you have to, if you're like 5K here, 3K here, 8K here a week, you have to make a decision. You're going to have to take this. You're at 80%. Look in the mirror and ask yourself if you're really at 100%. I would doubt it if you're not consistently. And that's the biggest thing, guys, is like, you don't have to write $1 million a year, but you have to be consistent. You have to do this every day. Don't do it every other day. Don't do it every other week. The worst thing you do to build a business is show up every other week or every other day. That's the worst thing you could do as a leader. Consistency, like my wife and kids know I'm there every day. I show up every day for my family. I'm not like one day I'm drunk at a bar, one day I'm doing this, one day I don't come home one night. There's none of that. My family knows they can rely on me because I'm consistent. I'm a consistent individual. Does that make sense? My team knows they can count on me because I'm a consistent individual. Nobody in my life ever second guesses my consistency. And so if you want to be a leader in this business, you have to do that. I used to be very inconsistent. And I didn't realize how much it was eating away at, I was eating away at myself, right? At my belief level, at my confidence level, my joy. It's terrible to be inconsistent. And you think it's a lot of other things, but it's you, right? Like it's you. It's not your girlfriend, it's not this, it's not that, it's you. It's your inconsistency. So I would say that, dude, it's non-negotiables are consistency, right? Schedule, leading from the front, and always being there. Like for leaders, guys, being on every team call, because if you're not on the team call, then you just, if your bar as a leader is not at the highest level, you're giving permission to everybody else to lower their bar. Does that make sense? Don't give your team permission to be average. Be above average so they can fit within your hemisphere. Like, because that's the thing, guys. I want to bring on people that their goals are so freaking big that I have to bring up my bar. Like, I'm like, oh crap, like this guy wants to do 18 million a year. So I got to do 40 now. I want to bring those people in. Right. And so like, be the kind of person that's ready to take on somebody that wants to do 5 million a month as a builder. Does that answer that question?
That was a phenomenal answer to the question. And Frank, I've never asked you this, but I'm asking you live on the call. After being in the industry for so long and being with so many different companies, what specifically stood out to you about Pinnacle, and why did you decide to hop over here with us?
The people. That's it. The people. There's no, I mean, I was at a point where I was literally deciding if I was going to start my own IMO. And then in May of last year, when Joe posted Pinnacle, I was like, that's where we're going. Because I knew Joe and Gabe were going to do exactly what I would have done. Right. And so why am I going to reinvent the wheel when I can align myself with great people that share the same values? I don't want to complicate it any more than that. There's no better place. Right? I'd be there. And what's funny is there may be an agent that hears me say that because they think I'm like trying to sell them on Pinnacle. And then they may go because they got sold a bag of goods, because the grass is always greener where you water it. So if you're not watering your grass here and then you're going to go somewhere else and not water your grass there, it's not going to be any better. If you start watering your grass, you're not going to be worried about anywhere else to go. You're going to be too busy. You're going to be too busy counting all the fruit that came off your tree. Right. And so, but there's going to be somebody that's like, oh, it's the leads, it's Jonah, I don't like his muscle shirt, whatever they're going to say, and they're going to go somewhere else and they're going to get worse results. And guess what? They're going to come back. And I think Jonah will be empathetic and be like, of course, come back. But the God's honest truth, guys, Jonah didn't pay me to say this. If there was a better place I'd go, I would have gone. This is it. If I go somewhere else, it's because I sold and I got out of insurance. I'm not going anywhere else. This is it for me.
Absolutely.
I wanted to go over. Did you have another question about building? Because I wanted to go over one last thing.
Nope. I was just gonna say we got a few minutes left for the call, so close us out and go over whatever you want to go over, Frank.
So this came to mind before the call, guys, and I just wanted to take some notes down on the traits of a top producer and leader. And so if you guys are taking notes, definitely take notes on this, because this is over a decade of really being around people that are successful versus people that are not. And I spent time around thousands of agents. And so I've kind of came up with some of the things that have worked and that haven't. So the first one is, and I've already touched on this, but it's so important, guys. I really hope that you guys can take this one seriously. They're coachable. Top producers and leaders. There's no way I'd be sitting here talking to you guys if it wasn't for let's even call it a God-given gift. I was never afraid to reach out for help. I know some people they're not humble. There's too much pride. Whenever I made a big decision where it was like, I'm going to get my first office, I'm going to hire an assistant, all those things, I always reach out to at least 3 people to pick their brain. They already did it. Let me learn from their mistakes. Why make my own? Right? That's why we read books. I'm trying to shorten time frames. Somebody put 40 years life experience in one book that I could read in a week. Right? So be coachable, please. Second one, they're prepared and they're organized. There it goes again. They're prepared and they're organized. Top producers and leaders are prepared and organized. Top producers and leaders are grateful. They always, it's so funny. The ones that are successful, they always have an attitude of gratitude. And I know that sounds cheesy, but they do. And some I've seen, like when they were a mess and they weren't successful, and then they became successful, I've seen the gratitude grow with them, with their personal and professional growth. So be grateful. And guys, I want you to know, I didn't have any of these traits or qualities. I was a mess. So if you're like, I don't have any of these, I'm not going to be successful. No, you can develop them. The purpose of me telling you guys this is to start getting intentional. Be intentional with your life. Be intentional with your business. Okay? Top producers and leaders have thick skin or they're willing to develop it. How do we develop it? We move fast and we mess things up. My first coach that I ever hired, I asked him right off the bat, I'm like, what's the greatest quality that you've seen between successful entrepreneurs and not? You know what he said? The most successful entrepreneurs, they're not afraid to fail. They mess stuff up and then they figure it out quick. I'll never forget that. That was the first piece of advice I ever got from a coach. Successful agents, they're focused. They're not looking for the next best situation, right? And I feel bad with social media. And there's so much like, oh, I'm going to sell watches this week. Guys, there's no better opportunity. Keep your head down, blinders on, go to work, and just know no matter what you do, it's going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years to be successful. Just don't prolong it, right? And then one other thing I'll tell you is what you do in your first year is going to be, it's going to differentiate what year 2, 3, 4, 5, go all in year 1. Don't take vacations. Don't take time off. Sacrifice everything now, go all in. Okay. Top producers and leaders are not afraid to go all in on themselves. I share that, right? Bet on you. It's scary when you have to bet on somebody else. You're like, I don't know if this guy's going to go all in or not, but you decide. You make the decision on you. top producers, they want to be leaders. I've discovered that. A lot of top producers want to be leaders because you know what? When you're selfless with your clients, typically you have that trait. Like you want to be selfless. Somebody helped you, they pulled you up. Now you're like, okay, let me go back down, pull some other people up, right? Let's return the favor. Let's reciprocate. I already said this one, but let's be very clear. Top producers and leaders are selfless. You know what I learned? You know what's funny, Jonah, is like when I used to, because I used to interview, I've interviewed so many agents, guys, hundreds, if not thousands. And then we see them on the leaderboard and they make these fancy posts, and you think this guy's going to come in with his glasses, shades on, and his fancy Gucci belt and this and that. And you know what I've learned is the most successful agents care the most. They really genuinely care about their clients. So if you're just doing this for the money, guys, it's okay. Like we're in business. We're not here to like for rainbows and sunshines. We're here to make money, but start to develop that quality. Like don't be a sociopath. Start to develop that quality of caring about people, right? You know, the only 2 commandments God gave us after Christ came was to love God and serve others. Do we know what loving means? Like if I love John, loving doesn't mean, hey, bro, I love you. Do you know what the true definition of love is? It's an act of service, right? Like, so when Jonah rubs Claudia's feet at night because she loves a good foot massage, that's an act of love, of service. Does that make sense? It's not just like, Claudia, I love you. That's not what love is. So we have to serve others. Be of service, right? So top producers do more than they're told or expect. Top producers and leaders do more than they're told or expect. Here's a good one. This is my favorite. This is one of my favorites. Top producers never complain. If you're a leader already, that one's gonna hit. That one's gonna hit home. Top producers never complain. My guys, the ones that are successful, they never complain. Right? They never do. And if there's a problem, guess what? They're not problem focused. Top producers are not problem focused, they're solution focused. I have a lot of success. I'm obsessed with coaching and getting, like, you guys know, what did I say? Key to success, keep educating yourself. I'm always trying to align myself with successful people. None of the millionaires and billionaire friends that I have ever talk about problems. It's always solutions. Always. Top producers choose courage over fear. What does that mean? We all are afraid. There's some days this phone feels like it's 500 pounds for everybody. Does that make sense? But we choose courage over fear. It's not that the fear is absent. It's not like Jonah was never afraid. He just chose courage over fear. And that's where the why comes in, guys. Like if my kids can't eat, I'm not worried about how I feel. It's time to go to work. Make sense? So you got to have big whys. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, this is what I scream to my team every day. Keep it simple, guys. Work hard, have fun, serve others. Work hard, have fun, serve others. Work hard, have fun, serve others. Super simple. What we do is super simple. Just be consistent and have thick skin. You know what I'll leave you with this one last thing. I've learned, because you've heard people say in this business, and I don't like this, you can have a bad day. You can't have a bad week or a bad month, but you can have a bad day. I don't have bad days. I can't tell you the last time I had a bad day. I've had a bad moment, but I don't have bad days. So develop your skin so freaking thick. You get punched in the face, you get back up. I got punched in the face. I'm not going to let it ruin my whole freaking day. I got punched in the face. Get back up. Get back to work. Nobody died. Get back to work. Here's the reality, guys. We're in America. Our worst day in the world, guys, somebody prays for. Somebody prays for. Remember that. You can have a bad moment. Give yourself a bad moment. But nobody or nothing deserves to give you a bad day. I'll leave it on that note.
Man, that was phenomenal. I hope you guys all wrote those down. I took some good notes on that. If you didn't, I'm going to drop this in the chat for y'all.
I wrote a ton down in the chat. And this
All
will
right.
be on YouTube.
I hope that helps,
Yeah.
guys.
So
I mean,
this is
that's my purpose, guys. I just want to serve.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Frank.
much. This is the call that I would encourage all of you, myself included, to go back and listen to the recording on YouTube. Drop an emoji in the chat if this added some value to your life.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for taking the time to get better.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
All right,
God
guys.
bless.
You too. Let's make it happen.